Ricky comment, or where does that happen?
WCTV.
I'm getting comments that there's no sound on YouTube. It's fixed. Okay, Ricky just responded. Thank you, Ricky. Go ahead, Mr. Sears.
Yeah, thank you.
I don't want you not to be heard.
Okay, mic's on. Just remember, we will be having a reval, and she probably would need more office supplies for that. I believe that's where she will be requesting that money.
His tax collector, not tax assessor, though.
Yeah, but you're gonna probably get more information, people who will be paying the taxes before the assessors go, you know, and that's the way I'm looking at it.
Office supply.
Any other discussion? Mr. Rowland?
I'm sorry, I'm just getting to the page.
Oh, sorry, okay. Page 11.
No, I'm at that page.
Yeah, the-
Oh, the audit trail?
Yes. I have no questions.
So Mr. Cassio has made a motion to reduce it by 10% to 1170. Do I have a second? I'll second it. Roll call?
Councilman Cassio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
No.
Councilman Owen.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Finance tax collector dues, meetings, and conferences, 401-20-145-250, 1,200 requested, 1,200 recommended. Any discussion?
Yes. It was 619, 2021, and up 822. It looks like we had it up at.
Please speak
12.
up, Councilman Cassio.
Sure, no problem. Looks like
Thank
we
you.
had it up to almost 13 the year before. So I just want to know why there was, a big increase between 22 and 23. That's my question. To the,
Is that be coming out of COVID and then taking hard classes?
could be, I don't know.
And did they overspent the line last year? Is there a
Right.
reason that they overspent the line? Did they need more training or something that we didn't account for? Or did they attend something that we didn't account for? $145,250.
Training.
$145,250.
46 and 47.
Page 46 and 47, John.
Membership.
Council President, if I may help out council a little bit.
Sure.
the returning members to the council remember during budget season last year, I had requested the increase. The increase was denied. Then at the end of the budget, very generously and appreciatively, the council went back and re-voted to increase that line again. The individual employee requested to attend 2 conferences that year that provide CEUs. Again, respectfully, I provided all the information to assist the council in making these decisions. Job classification has the amount of mandatory training. This position comes with a lot of requirements and mandatory training. That line was given permission to be over encumbered by me as the administrator. I was well aware of it. So we are respectfully requesting $1,200 again this year.
Can I ask, is the conference the only avenue to secure those CEUs?
I would imagine there's other ways with the conference is, it's consolidated into generally 2 or 3 days where you're being provided all the training in one location. So it adds up. It's not a CEU here or a CEU there.
Thank you. Any other discussion?
I'm sorry, there's also 2 organizations that I believe there's a county organization and a state organization that is belonged to by this employee. So if you see like TCTA of New Jersey and TCTA of Bergen County, it's two organizations.
Is there 2 employees who are part of this?
In another line, yes. So the QPA and the tax collector are both members, I believe, of TCTA county and state. But this should just be the tax collector's dues and meetings line.
Okay, so after the 3 expenditure lines, the first 3 lines,
Yep.
there's a New Jersey and a New Jersey, and both appear to have debited the balance.
Right. So in speaking with the tax collector today, I think it coincidentally came up that one of the memberships was incorrectly attributed to this line. If what I'm talking about was correct, and I believe it was corrected, I'm just trying to find where the correction is.
Mr. DeCarlo, is this the only department that attends 2
No,
functions?
no, the purchasing department does as well.
Okay, that's fine.
And I believe the clerk's office does as well.
Okay, that's fine. Any other discussion, gentlemen?
Yeah, I guess my question was, in years past, and we spent a lot less, so did we not get certified? Did we not have CEUs for those years, or why were they so low? Is it because it was COVID and no one was traveling?
Well, I would imagine the same formula would apply as we utilize to the other departments, like the clerk's office and council. It was increased over years as well, so it's not isolated to just this department.
Okay, but I guess my question is, with those years, did they get CEUs?
I imagine they did, sir. I was not here.
Okay, thank you.
I'll make a motion to fund the 1,200.
I second that motion.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilman Ullman,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Finance tax collector, furniture and equipment, 40120154530. Requested is 700, recommended is 700, requesting a new lockable filing cabinet. Would that go in the office, Mr. DiCarlo?
Yes, sir. And this is just another example of when we asked for 2 computers last year. That's why it's a significant decrease. And just going over again the expense, there's the need for a fireproof filing cabinet that's lockable.
Is that the exact, like roughly the cost of that cabinet, the 700 or?
I did speak to them. They feel that 500 could, well, that's what she told me.
All right, so I'll reduce it. I'll make a motion to reduce it
So
to
the middle,
500.
600? 600?
Said
just in
500.
case. I know. Well, I got some guidance over here, so.
I'll make a motion to reduce it to 500.
I'll second it.
A question on that?
Yes.
Mr. DiCarlo, can we get a locking fireproof cabinet for 500?
I probably should have said 550 or 600, but I don't specifically know. But in all honesty, and going over this with the department head again, they felt that the prices may have come down. If you guys could just reconsider maybe going in the middle for 600, just so I can definitely cover the cost.
All right, I'll amend my motion to 600.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
There's probably significant shipping for a piece like that.
Who's carrying it?
Can we look locally for it? Like, I'm sure.
Yes, I will definitely try and get the best price.
Okay.
You have my word.
So I'll revise my motion to 600.
Second that.
Can I ask about last year? The expenses.
Mhm.
So it's furniture and equipment. We're putting computer software in there and hardware. Again, I don't know if
Did that?
the chart of accounts, if furniture and equipment is where we should be putting computer software and computer hardware.
Well, we took it out. Remember I explained that last night?
You took it out, but it,
We looked at it as, I'm sorry, go ahead.
so it makes it difficult to follow the trends. So if there was no computers in the furniture and equipment line, this line would be much flatter. Or it'd be 0 and it would be 600 for this year. And, it makes it difficult if we're doing a run rate budget to perform the analysis. So I guess my question to Mr. Corcoran is, is it appropriate that we're putting software, computer software, and computer hardware in F&E?
Why are we debating something that took place last year? If I may respectfully request, who do I satisfy? Do I satisfy administrative needs, yourself, or the council that had no problem with this last year? I need some direction because you seem to need tailoring.
No, I don't need any tailoring.
Okay.
My need is to ensure
That's our job.
that the books,
Sir, that's our job.
no, I beg to differ.
Okay.
I beg to
Would you
differ.
like to argue what we did last year or what I did to correct it this year?
I'd like to understand if it's viewed that this was correct last year.
It was correct. That's my answer.
Council,
Did that department receive those 2 computers, Mr. DeCarlo?
Yes, they did.
I just wanted to ensure that was,
Council President?
Yes.
May I just Googled fireproof cabinets, and they're over $1,000. And this is for a 1, 2, 3, 4 drawer, and a 2 drawer is 1,200.
I mean, but the ask is only 700.
Yeah.
They must have a price from somewhere to get it.
Well,
All right, so we're on, anything else, Mr. Ullman, on that line? Or you were waiting for Mr. Corcoran's answer?
We answered the question, Council
Okay, thank
President.
you.
So there's, last year, you know, we have to take all the numbers with a grain of salt.
Sir, you have the audit trail, which you are very excellent at reviewing. So again, I don't know how I go back in time and correct what you would like corrected.
Okay,
Yeah, I'm going to say, excuse me, Mike, may I make a quick comment?
sure.
There's more than one right way to do things. And so last year, it was decided that was the right way. This year, we're trying to get better. We're always trying to get better. And so this year, we're deciding to go through the admin line for all the computers.
And Council President, can I just clarify so I understand why I'm here? Are we reviewing a budget for approval, or are we reviewing performance? Can you please clarify that for me?
I don't think performance was ever spoken until
Okay,
now.
sir,
think
it had
it was-
nothing to do with budget approving, asking me why we put it in that line. So please just clarify why I'm here.
You're here for the budget.
Okay, thank you.
Finance tax collector training,
so
401.
do we take a vote on
No,
what
we
this?
didn't. You did a
No, I'm
motion,
sorry.
and a
Yeah,
second, but we didn't
because
vote.
I'm still, when I was looking at cabinets, they're like $1,000. So if he has an inroad for a cabinet for 700,
All right, well, the motion's been made for 600 and
Right.
seconded, so I'm sorry, I thought we voted. Thank you, Ms.
No.
McCaskey. Roll call.
Councilman Cascio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
no.
Councilman Ullman,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Finance tax collector training, 401-20-145-370. The request is 800, the recommended is 800. We spent that much last year. I'm okay with it. Any other discussion?
No, I'm fine.
You fine with it?
Yeah, at this point, I'm fine with it. Hopefully it's not these are for CUs. And, well, I'm hoping they're for CUs.
I'll make a motion to approve the 800.
Second,
Roll call?
Councilman Cascio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
yes.
Councilman Ullman,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Finance tax collector tax bills, 401-20-145-460. Requested is 5,600, recommended is 5,600. It's an anticipated increase from Edmunds for 3 billings. Is that been finalized, Mr. DeCarlo? We don't.
Yes, so we haven't actually had our first expenditure need yet. I did review this with the department head today, and again, we totally understand cuts we need. She was very, very concerned that we could budget this with the 5,600. Approximately 3,400 to 3,500 bills go out. There is the increase from Edmunds. It includes the envelopes, the printing, the stock, and a minimum of 3 mailings, which would be in my notes, the estimated bill, the reconciled bill, and the added assessment billings. So I did review that, approximately 5,100 was spent of the 5,500. That would be understandably noticeable. And, there was a strong desire and concern that it would be funded with the $5,600, $5,600.
So that's so we're saying that's basically a contractual number with that.
Again, I don't want to lead you in that direction. It's not contractual.
But it's close to it.
Yes, we do. Yes, I just don't want to give you the impression that there was a contract that was signed and we have, no choice. But obviously, we do use Edmunds for our tax. So, I don't want to give you the wrong impression. But
Okay. Any other discussion, gentlemen? Mr. Allman, Mr. Sears?
No, I'm good, thank you.
No, no question.
Someone like to make a motion to approve it?
Sure, I'll make a motion.
I'll second it. Roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilman Omen,
Yes.
Council President DeSena,
Yes. Finance tax collector miscellaneous 401-20145, 500. 500 is the request, 500 is the recommended. Any discussion, gentlemen?
Can we reduce it 100?
Almost
My
good.
motion, reducing it $100, 400.
You'll second that? All right. Roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilman Omen,
Yes.
Council President DeSena,
Yes. That takes care of page 12, starting page 13. We have some salaries at the top.
Council President, can I politely
Yes.
interrupt you? Just, not that you would forget, but we did have some information on some of those table things. If you wanted to do that, or at some point tonight, just want to remind you, especially that copier expense, we did get an exact price.
Okay, let's go back. Let's just go back. Where was that? On page 7, correct? 401-201-20-300?
Yes, sir, and I appreciate Ms. Wachowski, she was able to get it, and it is the same price as last year. So, $1,287, if you could make it $1,300, just.
I'll make a motion to approve that for 1,300. Do I have a second?
A second.
you can do 1,300, or you want to do the 1,287?
Just give it
1,300.
$13 in
Okay.
case, just in case, Ms. Wachowski, you never know.
We may have to pay stamps on it.
Okay.
Roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilman Omen,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Do you have another one, Mr. DeCarlo, that you can? bring up
Yes,
quickly?
I'm not sure if council was able to review the email that I sent out about the financial services fee and the audit services fee. Again, I know there might be a decision on audit services, but either way, we would need the funds for it.
Yeah, that's on page.
But, I do also want to point out that the financial services fee has the QPA stipend in it, so I forgot that might be why you wanted. to
Did we
take
get
that as well.
anything on the code publication or not?
Yeah, I
yet?
guess.
Yes, so.
All right, let's stay on where you were.
Okay.
If you don't mind, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
My adult ADD is
So-
acting up.
The financial services fee, I sent out the email, but I just remembered that line also includes a stipend for QPA, so I understand if you want to skip over that, you're doing that with the salaries. And then there was audit services.
What page is that on?
That's 10, bottom of 10.
And then the top of 11.
Financial services fee, yes, we tabled that.
So, yep. And
So we
then,
tabled 135-200 because it has a, no, that one doesn't have the
stipend in, no.
that has this QPA stipend in it, yes.
And for 135-200 audit services, based on the email, I would reduce it by 500 to 36,500. I believe that's sufficient.
That was exact.
So you want to reduce audit services?
Audit services, 135-200, the first on
Yeah,
page 11.
you make a motion to reduce it to 36,500.
That's correct.
Any second?
I'll second.
Question?
Sure.
Mr. DiCarlo, are you satisfied with that, or should we stay on the 3,700?
No, I mean, it's accurate to the penny. The only thing is, I think you guys asked Ms. Wachowski for, is it RFP or RFQ for it?
Yes.
I guess there's the possibility if someone else is selected, it could be more, but, I wouldn't know how much more. So to go exact is probably, right? Because I don't think you have to choose based on price.
No, but hopefully
If it's
we've been
RFP.
able to
Get
convince hopefully they'd be smart enough to see our budget meeting and see what the cost is.
that, there you go. Yeah, I thank you, Councilman Sears. I think it's sufficient. Yes, sir.
36,500 is good?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So for 401-201-35-200, Mr. Ullman has made a motion to reduce it by 500 to $36,500. Seconded, did you second it?
I did.
Councilman
Mr.
Cassio.
Casio, roll call.
Councilman Cassio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes,
Councilman Ullman,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes, and we're gonna leave 132,200 since it's a stipend and we haven't talked about that. And then we had on the top of page 8, which is the code publication, 40120-12460. We had some questions about that I guess is in our notes.
Yeah, so I was impressed that you picked that out from the list, because code publication's on there, so I wanted to make sure I was right from what I told you. I'm trying to look for it. And our financial advisor confirmed that it's for a total revision and codification of ordinances. So, all of these, A through I are not little expenses. It's bigger expenses, like a reevaluation, hundreds of thousands of dollars. So it wouldn't be just for, revisions to our tree ordinance, and then we're updating revisions to the summer rec program. But I was impressed. It was pretty good to know that list. So unfortunately, we cannot, because it's referring to a total codification of the ordinance.
So 7,000 is required.
Yeah, however, like I said last night, I did check with them. The last set of ordinances I sent to them to incorporate have not been billed out yet, and the quote came in between 1,600 and 1,800.
But can we use the money remaining in 2023 to do?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, yeah. But it's gonna bring you up to closest, like 6,000 and change.
Yeah, so it'll still be
So it's
1,000
still
left.
gonna be, but again, if we do master plan and stuff like that, we do more for that, again, you've got some
Okay.
things, so.
Any other discussion, gentlemen?
I would make the motion to keep it at 7,000.
I'll second the motion. Roll call?
Councilman Cassio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes,
Councilman Ullman,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes, thank you. Are there any others to go back to? I think that was the
No,
last one.
thank you
tonight, right,
for
Mr.
allowing me
Cabral?
to interrupt you with that.
No, that's fine. I'm
Can I
glad we-
just, Mike, can I just go,
Yes, Mr. Ullman.
came off? Financial services fee, 132-200.
132,200.
Yes, sir.
Yes. We're going to table that because there's a stipend involved.
I understand, but I'd just like to ask the question, and it is not at this person or this stipend, it's just what we're calling stipends versus salaries. And the reason I ask that is we're calling it a stipend, and typically the stipends don't escalate. And there's a line in the salary table that you provided that has an escalation. So I'm just trying to understand, is this salary that has been allocated to this line because of the function? Or is this something else?
So that's where it traditionally was. To go back, to give you a specific answer, I would respectfully ask to answer that privately with you, because it does pertain specifically to the individual employee, the answer. But a general answer is that's where it was. So when I came, the QPA stipend was from a person that, it was an employee because they got paid, but it wasn't like a full-time employee. And once this individual that I'm talking about here received their certification, we transitioned it, the stipend, to this person. So then last year, coming into last year, the stipend was $4,800. Council approved an increase of $1,000 to $5,800. So in 2023, it was $5,800 of this line was for that QPA stipend. In the salary chart, we asked for 2% this year on, I don't want to say everything, but most of the lines. So last year when we came in, we didn't ask for 2% on the stipends, and I believe this year we did. But again, please don't take me, definitively to mean all. I'd have to go and look at it. But hopefully that answers your question generally.
But I think, Mr. DeCarlo, I also think before your time, this person was not it was a consultant
Yes.
acting as our QPA. The person wasn't even an employee technically of the town,
Yes.
other than consulting as our QPA. And I think that's why it was in this line,
Yeah.
because there was no other place to put it, because technically they were an outside person acting as our QPA,
Right.
but not here every day.
Yes.
If I may ask, Mr. DeCarlo, didn't we create this stipend for people that, for extra skill sets that they have for academic advancement? Wasn't that part of the stipend that we put in play?
Well, yes, and I mean, I don't think, I'm not getting that you're questioning that.
Not at all.
Questioning where the location is, and that's what I guess I'm asking if I can privately,
Okay.
answer that question.
Well, we've tabled this and it's going to
Yeah.
remain tabled, so.
Yes, but, and again, I know you weren't questioning the QPA stipend, but obviously there's a benefit to the township because it increases our bid threshold to the 44 and change rather than 17 and change, which saves us money.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Any other discussion, Mr. Allman, on this that you have?
No.
Okay, I'm going to go back.
I will answer your question, Mr.
I'm going to go back to our normally scheduled pages. We're on 17. The end of 17 is complete. We're going to the top of page 18.
What happened to 13?
What's it?
13, 13, 14, 15.
It's a huge jump.
It's,
Why am I missing pages? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The hole's being punched in the wrong place.
I'm looking, when you said it, I'm looking going,
Number for you.
I'm back, tax assessor. All right, we're back. So the first two we're gonna skip is their salaries. First one's finance tax assessor, office supplies, 401-20150-210. Recommended is, requested is 500, recommended is 500. Any discussion, gentlemen?
make a motion, we accept 500.
Well, they spent 500, yeah. I'll second the motion. Roll call? Or were you looking at something, Mr. Ullman, before we take a vote?
No, that's fine.
Councilman Cassio?
No.
Councilman Sears?
Yes,
Councilman Ullman?
No.
Council President DeSena?
Yes, I made the motion. So it ties, so what happens there?
You gotta wait until Daisy comes.
We have to wait till Daisy comes?
I'm pretty sure a tie stays with, but
I think so too.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I believe
I'm
it's
gonna look at my cheat sheet.
a tie, I think, stays with the.
the request.
I believe that's correct.
All right. You gonna check?
Yeah.
No, it's right. That's correct.
The tie stays?
That's correct.
Okay. Ms. Witkowski's looking at her notes.
I thought it was it. No, I don't have it.
All right, well,
But I
If it changes-
agree, but I
if it
agree.
It's correct.
If here's something
It is.
different, we can always, but
I know it's correct.
finance tax assessor dues meetings and conferences, 401-20150-250. Request is 300. Recommended is 300. Any discussion, gentlemen?
Yes. This individual we share with another community.
But it's not a shared service.
No, correct, it's not, right,
She may work, she might be employed
right.
somewhere else, but it's not a shared service.
That's correct, yes.
So are we paying 100% of these sort of this fee or professional development or, is there any agreement on that?
Just look at the audit trail.
Yeah, while you're looking, I'm pretty sure that when we spoke to her, that she does prorate amongst the different municipalities she works for.
Oh,
So
We only spent 180 last year. I'm okay with bringing it down to 200 if everybody else is.
I don't know why it spikes year to year, but in 19 it was 180, in 23 it was 180.
Well, also just keep in mind, it's a different employee.
Right.
Yeah.
So they might be, satisfying it somewhere else, I'm not sure.
I'll make a motion for 200.
I'll second.
Question,
Yeah.
Mr. Councilman?
Yes, Mr. Sears.
She's close to, if you follow, over 250, 200,
Two different employees.
Yeah,
This employee works multiple,
I know, but
so you can't look back at the past experience. I just looked back at her. She was, the person was here in 2023, so,
well, I see what you're saying. Okay.
and way back when in 2018, somehow they spent the same, 2019, excuse me, they spent the same amount.
And you don't have the same employee, the history is difficult.
Right, right. I
Especially if it's
assumed that she
someone
was
that's
the-
Not with us and
Got it.
she was part-time.
Tom.
Okay. Any other discussion? Roll call?
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
No,
Councilman Oman.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Finance Tax Assessor Travel, 401-201-50280, requested is 250, recommended is 250. Is this a contractual agreement with the employee, or is this a?
this is a stipend in the salary ordinance. All the mileage stipend, I'm sorry, yes, all the mileage stipends are.
Okay.
This, for clarity, could be, easily renamed to match the other ones.
So technically this is mileage like the other one?
Yeah, I think, what is that what it says, like for hours, admin?
We did reduce some of the
Yeah,
other ones. Right?
that can be easily changed to say the other ones say travel and mileage stipend.
The other one says mileage stipend, so we're gonna, if we,
So that this
That's
employee,
one stipend.
specifically this employee drives around town doing the added assessments and the, things like that.
250, okay. Any discussion, gentlemen?
And what did we reduce the,
$50 on everyone else.
they're much higher stipend?
Correct.
Any particular reason, does anyone have recollection of why it went down from 3 to 250?
Phil, I do not recall why that is.
There was an assistant at one time. Do you think it was ever shared or?
I'm okay with leaving it at 250.
Okay, make a motion.
I'll make a motion, leave it.
second,
Roll call?
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
oh, yes.
Councilman Oman.
No.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Nothing else on that page. Just continue the page to legal advertisements, finance tax assessor, 401-201-50320, $50 requested, $50 recommended. Any discussion, gentlemen?
We'll make a motion, we accept $50.
I'll second it. Roll call?
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes,
Councilman Oman.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Finance tax assessor, assessment notification, 401-201-50460. $2,750 is requested, $2,750 is recommended. It is a state required mailing annually, increased request due to postage increase.
can make a motion, we accept the
Hold on,
$27.50.
Mr.
You can make the motion,
I was going to say discussion.
Oh, okay.
however you want to do it.
We'll do discussion. We've been doing discussion first and then.
Oh, okay.
No,
Would this line, the postage in this line, would this be captured in the administrative postage bucket, or is this different?
I don't know the exact answer to that. And I understand the question, and I'm sorry, I don't. I'm just looking at what was used as the actual 2610. So that, what is that, like $140, $139? increase.
Mr. DeCarlo, you need to speak into your
Sorry.
microphone, please. I'm sorry. Make
No,
your
no, no,
microphones
you're
go
right.
on, too.
You're right, the mic is on now.
Thank you.
If you can move.
I don't know
He
that.
just asked if we can move him closer to us.
Yeah.
So-
I'm sorry, I don't know that answer. I have to be honest.
So I mean, just based on the descriptions, there's something called a printing fee and there's an annual mailing. And I don't know if the mailing is the postage. And if it is, should it be in the other line? So
Yeah, it's a fair question.
Do you want to table it until we get an answer on this?
Can I just check with Mr. Corcoran to see if he has any insight into this?
Mark, I'm not 100% sure, but for some reason, I always thought this stood on its own, the one for tax assessors.
Okay.
I know a lot of the departments go along together in that other line, but I don't believe, I'm not 100% sure, but I don't believe the assessors were part of that.
Did you look, Mr. Holman? Let me just. Oh, yeah, it's just the annual mailing, assessment cards, 2,500.
Right.
And then the printing fee. You know, if you're willing to table it, otherwise I'd just, respectfully ask you to approve it at the 2,750. So we're covered. Obviously, it's a state required mailing, but if you'd like me to get more specifics, I definitely will.
my preference would be to understand if it's the postage is in that line or should be included
Gentlemen,
in
you
the
okay
other.
with tabling it until Mr. DeCarlo can get us an answer? Mr. Sears, Mr. Cassio?
Yeah, no,
No problem, so we'll table until, we'll flag it until Mr. DeCarlo, you'll try to get that answer?
Yes.
Thank you. Finance tax assessor appraisal services, 401-201-50500, 10,000 requested, 10,000 recommended. Any discussion?
Yeah, what's the driver of that number? So for,
I think, this was a very big topic discussion last year as well. The best way I can describe it is, quote unquote, insurance policy. We did have our tax assessor and Mr. Pollard weigh in on it. It's one of those, if we need it, we need to have it there. Because the alternative, obviously, if we don't, I don't think I have a better argument for you. But there was a lot of talk about it last year. I'm sure the council members remember. Thankfully, they did fund it with the full 10,000. As you can see, we did not use anywhere near that. So I think it would just be a gamble if we funded it less than 10,000. But again, our tax assessor, I believe in her abilities, and that's what she'd like to continue to fund it at.
If I can add to that, since I'm pretty sure we'll be doing a revow, I would hope to make that number lower in future years. But since we're so far off of market, I see more appeals coming in. So I would, again, ask that we leave it this year and hopefully be able to reduce it next year after the town-wide reassessment.
do we have a docket at the moment of appeals that are pending or that we're aware of?
Sorry, I can't answer that.
I don't know, sir.
Well, Mr. Pollard would have had to present those to us, correct, if there was a?
No,
Or is it
again, I
just
think it may
strictly
have
the
been
office?
tabled last year too. Like I said, it was a big discussion, and so I understandably know why it is this evening. So we may have tabled it, and I may have gotten further information. As you know, Mr. Pollard's not generally at the normal budget meeting, so I think we discussed it further at a normal meeting where he was at, and it was his recommendation to leave it where it was as well, but, based on my memory.
Maybe we should just table it for now.
We'll table that until we,
Mr. Pollard, what his perceived,
gentlemen, are we okay with tabling this?
because maybe there's something.
Or does somebody want to make a motion?
question to Mr. DeCarlo.
Yes, sir.
I know last year we had a couple appeals were pretty big. The shopping center was one. And naturally, we had one, I won't make the,
Mr. Sears, you need
that
to speak
assessment.
up, speak out.
I won't make I know we had the shopping center one, that was a pretty big one, but if we want to table it for that,
We only spent
I don't have a problem.
$1,425
Yeah,
this year. so
I don't
that's
have a
lot of
problem
money.
with
It's
getting more
it's
information.
just getting it's an appeal, not
Yeah.
the actual.
I don't have a
funds
problem
to-
tabling to get
Okay,
information.
Mr. DeCarlo, would you be able to
Yes.
get some information? Thank you. Moving on,
Special emergency.
special emergency tax map revisions, 500, 401-20-153-200, 500 requested, 500 recommended. I believe the reassessment program includes a fee to redo the tax maps, Mr. DeCarlo, or it does not?
We have the proposal here. We could certainly look it over, but I don't think it was a requirement unless it was a revaluation.
Okay.
But we could, I can certainly try and look at it real quick, but I don't think it is.
I remember reading it somewhere, that's why I'm.
This was another one that was, obviously it's not as much as $10,000, but last year it was another topic because historically we're not using it. And it was explained again, if we need it, we need something there. So council last year reduced it from 1,000 to 500. I'd respectfully ask for the 500 to be approved again. So there's something there if God forbid we need it.
I believe the tax map update is not part of the reassessment.
Right, I think you're right.
It's part of the
Reval,
reevaluate.
right, yeah, if you look at,
Revaluation?
yeah, I'm sorry, I cut you off.
The Burgess proposal?
The reevaluate, oh, I'm sorry, the master plan thing?
Yeah, and that's,
Oh,
I thought that was in his update to
I
the
don't know,
planning board.
because I think that's a significant amount of money.
Yeah, it's a huge undertaking.
Yeah, I think it's even more than just the 85 that was proposed. But when you look at the paragraph for revaluation, that second to last sentence says the price does not include the required cost for a complete overhaul of the township tax maps done by the engineer. And when we were going through the different options, I remember she specifically said it was going to be a lot of money. I don't want to throw a dollar out there, but it was, well north of 50,000. I thought it was thrown out there at 100. So I guess I am going to throw a number out there, but I don't think it's part of. the
Having done it, I
reassessment.
think you're not that far off, Mr. DeCarlo. With your second number.
Right. So it does say, it doesn't specifically address it in the other options, but it does say no further costs are required.
Okay.
So I hope that would mean we wouldn't have to do the tax maps. I don't know the last time they were done either. But, if we're tabling the other two, I can certainly find out more clarification on this. Or we could go with the 500.
We haven't spent $1 on this item anyway, right? In the 3
No.
years it's funded, so 2 years it's funded, so.
If they're interrelated, if it's one question or two questions to the same person, and there's some level of interdependency. Do you hear something?
I think there's a meeting in the
Yeah, there's
senior
some,
centers
yeah.
also.
No,
Yeah.
no, I don't know.
I'll motion for the 500.
Thank you.
Anyone second?
I'm okay with it.
Somebody second it?
Second,
Roll call?
Councilman Casio,
yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes,
Councilman Oman,
Yes.
Council President DeSena,
Yes. 2024 reassessment program, 401-20-153-201. 2024 tax reassessment program, current township rating is 73.33%. Discussion, gentlemen.
well, I know Sarah said, if we don't do it, the county's gonna force us. to do it.
Correct.
So, we have an opportunity to get it done. Then we can go on a rotational basis, like a fellow town does. basically, we're between a rock and a hard stone. We have to do it.
And this can be capitalized?
Yes,
No,
if you-
sir. No, yeah, this one cannot. I confirmed today, it has to be, the reassessment has to be funded through the budget. Revals can be funded through that special emergency. But the reassessment, even if it's a one-year reassessment or a rotating, it has to be done through the budget.
And how much is the reval?
So she has, the price would be 300,000, then there's the cost of the tax maps on top of it. I don't, I wouldn't want to take a stab at explaining why the reassessment was recommended by the tax assessor, but I do, every time it's been gone over either with the older, the previous council or the new council, you guys have seemed to agree that that's the best option. The last, though, you guys, from what I remember, agreed that the rolling reassessment was the best option, but you wanted her to get numbers on a 5-year and a 6-year. But regardless of the 5-year to 6-year, the first year is the same price at 230. We also asked her, because it was a year old by that point, that number, and she was able to confirm that the 230 is still a good estimate. Our QPA believes there may be, if we're lucky, keep our fingers crossed, there may be a state contract for it. So that would relieve us from having to go out to bid, but that's not 100% confirmed. But those are our options on the table.
So you have to excuse me because now I'm a little confused. I thought we had the tax assessor present those options.
Yes.
And there was an agreement, or there would seem to be consensus, to do a full revaluation. And then, because we couldn't start the yearly 20% until we had a new baseline, which I thought was the full reval. And then every year after that, they do 20%. They couldn't start the,
You're not talking about payment option when you say 20%, right? You're talking about
20%
like
of the
sections. Yeah,
town.
that would be a reassessment. The reevaluation is done, the revaluation is done in 1 year, started and completed in 1 year. That option can be funded over the 5 years under that special emergency. But I remember everyone agreeing to the reassessment, the rolling reassessment, however, wanted to get information on the 5-year one or the 6-year one.
Why wouldn't we go with the complete reassessment for 265 total cost?
Again, remember I started off by saying I don't want to try and recreate why she recommended it. But whatever she said was convincing to you gentlemen and ladies that it's not in the room. Councilman, Sears or Councilman Casio that was here last year, if you remember it any differently.
So why did we pass on it last year and now it's on our lap?
Well, it came up after the budget season, I think, last year. Actually, no, it didn't. It began in the fall of 22. I think we started telling, or like early winter, telling the council for it. We had a presentation and we did not put it in the budget because I think the council wanted to put it off a year. Then as that year,
Thank you.
as that year was eaten up, that's when our tax assessor said, hey, it looks
Now
like
it's
it's
mandatory.
coming close. It hasn't yet, but we were on the list. And then you guys had another presentation and she went back and said, they're going to do it. Which
we need
kind
to-
of pulled the wolves off a little bit.
So I don't have the memo or the presentation, and it sounds like I am misremembering, but again, I thought we had to do the full
I'm sorry. go
Is
ahead.
it
I was-
the revaluation? And then they could do the rolling reassessments.
I don't want to prolong anything, but, if we got to table the other two,
Yeah, let's just
and if the
table this and
mayor's
have her come
okay
back.
with it, maybe we can have her present, or,
Yes.
she likes to zoom in, I think, because
That's
of her
fine.
other responsibilities, and
That's
just
fine.
go over it again. I know it's a big decision, so if you like that, we can,
I think
Is that okay?
it's a quarter,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
it's gonna be $250,000 this year and 400,000 going forward,
Yeah.
if we pick that option, or the 265 option to just do it as a one-time, less than expensive and no further costs are required.
sure. Do
I
you
don't know
want
how
me to
we
try
will
and
pick-
set it up for Monday? I mean, I can't imagine it being more than 10 or 15 minutes, but
Yeah, she was pretty good last, she had it pretty much nailed down.
Yeah.
If we could,
For
Mr.
Monday?
Mayor, is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
All right, so we'll table that until Monday, if she could, either Monday or Wednesday, Mr. DiCarlo or
Yes.
Mr. Mayor? I mean, if Wednesday, we only have one department coming, so maybe if we could do Wednesday, this way we'll have 2 on Monday and
Okay.
2 on Wednesday, if that's okay?
yes.
I mean, the only thing I would say is, I think there was consensus that we have to do it.
We have to,
Just
yeah.
what's going to be the cost and how is it going to be executed?
Because if you look at the complete reassessment on the second page, on the first page, it's saying they would do everything in 1 year for $265,000 and there would be no further costs. So why wouldn't, it is less expensive than a reval. The approach utilizes the existing data in the assessor's office, therefore it is less expensive than a reval. The price would be $265. Both options would satisfy the goal of achieving 100% market value for the assessed values in the township. Therefore, any pending order to revalue set forth by Bergen County Board of Taxation would be satisfied. So why wouldn't we go with the lesser?
She must have had something that convinced you guys otherwise, but.
I mean,
yeah,
I definitely did remember asking her for the 5-year and the 6-year,
Yeah.
the 4-year and the 5-year plan. That definitely know that, but I don't know why we didn't pick this one.
Yeah, well, we're going to find out next Wednesday.
Okay, thank you. Or Monday if she can't make Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
We prefer Wednesday because this way we have 2 and 2 and up.
Gotcha.
If everybody's okay with that, right?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll table that.
Whatever's convenient for her.
Do you know what they should?
All right, Department of Law salary, we're going to skip. Other legal services,
Still have it.
401-201-55-260. Requested is 60, recommended is 60. Any discussion, gentlemen?
Yes. There's payroll in this. Do we know who that is?
Yes. That is our township attorney.
Okay.
Does this include like our lawsuits?
Litigation, yes.
So it does have litigation costs from the
From,
other attorneys?
well, the
I haven't seen those names.
attorney's in there. One of the things that I unfortunately found out that we had no idea was coming was, there was lawsuits out there that were concluded, and then we had to give our
Can you show that?
portion of the.
1 second, Mr.
of-
Powell.
yeah.
Can you record state that Ms. Velez joined us at 9:03?
Thank
Good
you.
evening.
Sorry.
No? Go on, Mr. Carl, I'm sorry.
That's all right. Towards the end of 22 and the beginning of 23, if I remember correctly, if you go to Department of Law, Other Legal Services,
What page is that?
there was claims,
Page 53.
there was claims that we just received in the mail that we had to do our cost share from QBE, which is basically sum at risk. And there were several of them. So, there's always the potential for something from our past to rear its ugly head. Again, I don't know off the top of my head what's out there, but that has been accounted for in this line, as well as our labor attorney in this line, and that would be Wiss and Borgie. And then when you see QBE Specialty Insurance, that's where, there was claims made, and then payroll is for Mr. Pollard for litigation purposes.
And So I don't know if this, where the line is, but is this all of the additional fees from Mr. Pollard?
I believe he made bill to, let's see. I'm just looking at tax appeals and appraisers. I don't see any payroll. It looks like yes. It looks like the answer to your question would be yes. Well, all other services. Legal, all other would include the litigation for our township attorney. It looks like the other lines, at least in 23, have been other professionals. CG, P&H, McNerney, QVE, the claim again.
Is Wiss and Borgney. So I don't believe we historically had a labor attorney until probably the last time I was on the council when we asked for some assistance with a contract negotiation, which at that point was a one-time. It seems like they're on a retainer now. And I guess it's not consistent. So I'm assuming it's not a standard or an agreed amount. So every month we get a bill and, what services are they providing to the township?
So if you remember this year, Wiss and Borgie was presented to the council. It was not approved by resolution. So the way the code is written is if, we need a labor attorney, if it, exceeds, I don't want to say Mr. Pollard's capabilities, but if it's in the field of labor law, and we don't have a appointed labor attorney, we have to get the approval from Mr. Pollard as the director of law. So this year, we have specific charges to Wiss Borgie to assist us with the transition in the healthcare to the difference card, because it involved negotiations with the unions, it involved the MOU, it involved the resolution. So
We lost half our savings.
off the top of my head, that's 2024's expenses for Wiss Borgie this year. Last year we had some personnel issues in the police department. There was the difference card last year. Do you remember what else?
So we don't expect any major
No, there's
labor.
no. But
labor
again,
other than the two, but
God,
other than the two pending litigations, that's all we have right now that you're aware of. That would be billed to this line.
kind of. So there is, other litigation that's out there. I just don't know at what step of the process it is. So, again, this would be a major insurance policy to have, because those, attorney bills come in, and I'm not talking about from our labor attorney or Mr. Pollard, but if claims come in, there is other suits out there that we've either been notified via tort or whatever. Besides the two that I know you're referencing.
All I know is about the two. You're saying there's more?
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean,
At the next.
People have made claims, again, I don't know, I don't want to rattle off. the top of
No,
my head.
we can't discuss it in
Yeah.
open, but at the next council meeting, can we
Oh, sure.
prepare a list of what's,
Yeah, or I could send it out to the council.
I don't know. Top-
Well,
Ken.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, if,
if it's okay with Mr.
I will
Pollard.
check with Mr. Pollard, but he would be included, which I think would cover us for the,
Okay.
but yes, I think.
Can we table this line until we receive that list? I'm just curious how much litigation is out there or pending towards.
and do we get the difference card, for
Yeah.
instance, that's current, not looking at last year's, as it's, we want to focus on this year. Have they provided us with their estimate of the fee.
For the difference card?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, it was part of the presentation. Again, I don't know it off the top of my head. I'm sure there's going to be further discussion when we get down to that line if you wanted to wait till then, or, I'm not withholding the answer from you. It's just I would have to look at their presentation to see what it is. But it's a monthly fee per employee that has healthcare.
Yeah, we had that number in the presentation.
Right.
We have the exact number of what it's going to cost, and what I think it was like $138,000 savings the first year,
I
right?
think I'm with you. Yeah.
No. So I'm on board with
Rephrase the question.
I'm on board with the difference card. You made a statement that last year they supported us in a number of efforts, Wiss and Borgie. And this year, you felt that was focused on the difference card. So their efforts around the difference card.
Yes.
So have Weiss, have they provided us, the township, with an estimate of their billing or how much they think it's going to cost to execute the difference card?
I think we're all caught up. I mean, we basically have the MOU signed. So I mean, I guess unless there's, another formality that comes up, the next step is to send all the paperwork and the resolution and the signed MOUs down to the state. So I don't want to lie or misspeak and say he's totally out of it, but I'm not expecting anything more of significance on that topic.
Okay, so if that is put to bed and it's $20,000, whatever it is,
No, it was nowhere near. Right.
and we don't have anything on the horizon, I guess I'm trying to understand, it's one thing to have an insurance policy, and I understand that concept. Ken has, explained that on quite a few occasions. At the same time, is 60 the number, or should it be 40?
I think 60 is the number. And, let's see, have we?
I think, Mr. Holman, in response to your question, I think that's why I asked how many torts are there still outstanding that are going to require?
Yeah, I mean, I have the information at fingertips. I could give it without,
No, I think we want to discuss that and without.
No, it wouldn't be specifics, but I mean, no, that's fine. I'm not going to push to give you information that you're concerned we can't give. But, there's volunteer injuries from 22, there's stuff out there, but I have no problems compiling. That's all. We keep track of everything. So,
Okay.
there's the two about that the council knows from ZBA.
And that's charged to this line?
Well, if we,
Yes,
if
if you
there's
look
a
at
claim, yeah.
it's the last two entries, Mr. Holman, on, for one's for Lou Lamatina and one's for CN Phone, if you look.
Okay.
I mean,
Yes.
part of it being insurance is, again, we didn't know the beginning of last year how involved the difference card would get. And the town's going to save significant money for that. So in that case, it was good that we had budgeted at 60,000 because Wiss and Borgie did put in significant work last year to get us to the point also. If we didn't have that cushion, I'm not sure where we would have found that much money to, again, save the town significant money.
So, the best I could tell you, there was some trip and falls from sidewalks. Most recently, you guys were informed that we were named as a defendant. There wasn't really monetary value assessed with it. I guess I don't know if I can.
Yeah,
say
don't go any
the name of
further.
it.
Yeah.
And then there was an injury to a volunteer back in 2022. So, there's a couple that are unknown that we may receive torts on that we haven't. There's definitely two that are in the works that I know of, other than the two ZBA ones.
Okay, thank you. So we'll table that until we get that information, and we'll go from there, if that's okay, Mr. Holman. Everybody else on the bid?
Yeah, just one last question.
specifics.
Do we have the chance to some of these accidents, not so much the difference card, but the accidents that you referenced, do we go to JIF? And, is that reimbursable? Do they share that cost? I don't know if you know how that works or if it's something you can explain.
Yeah, it does go to JIF. And it depends, your answer about whether it's reimbursable. So, since I've been here, we haven't paid out anything until it has become a claim, and then it's our cost share. But those were significant ones, like, the town center or a previous employee. I know that's not specifically answering your question. It's not an easy thing to answer.
Okay.
All right, so we'll table that one. Department of Law Consulting Non-Legal, 401-20155-320. Requested is $2,000. Recommended is $2,000. We had 0 billed last year.
Do we even know what that is?
I was trying to think of an example.
We didn't bill anything.
No, I know, but even in historically, I can't think of an example.
Sometimes it's like the tax assessor, another one that we need, any other.
Can we reduce
Make it
it
18.
to 1,500?
Is that your motion, Mr. Ehrlichman?
I motion to drop it to $1,500.
Anyone second it?
I'll second.
Roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
No.
Councilman Ullman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
No.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. COA planner fees, 401-20156-280.
Thank you.
17,500 requested, 17,500 recommended. Is there anything on the horizon this year that Mr. Pollard has to bring to our attention about COA? Or I don't think there's anything this year, right?
Not that I know of, sir. It'd be best if we got that information from him too. Obviously he provides his input with the budget, and those are the numbers he said to go with. But I would respectfully request for any support to be, requested of him. For this.
Mr. Mayor, could we reach out to Ken and see if there's any involvement from our planners on the COA or the COA master that we need to?
Well,
Yeah,
he'll
and
be
I
on-
assume
involved on
he'll be
Monday.
on Monday's meeting since it's a
Oh,
regular meeting.
Okay, so we'll table that for
Clear
Mr.
it.
Pollard, if that's okay, everyone?
Yeah.
All right.
I would expect CODA
Not
tail off
Yeah,
until
tail off soon, yeah.
it tails back on.
COA special master fees, 401-20156-290. Requested is 3,000, recommended is 3,000. Any discussion?
So do we know who CGP and H?
I'd have to look it up to see what the expanded, name is.
Community,
Community planning and grants,
Okay.
yeah,
that's who the
yeah.
special master works for, yeah.
So
What do they do exactly?
We have a special master that's been,
Works with the basic.
Works with-
stuff.
Courts.
she's like our court appointed.
Oh, okay.
Well, she's the COA master, and she basically decides on our COA stuff. She reviewed the plan.
Does that go with the recent presentation for Burgess? When he discussed
That's the
Having
master
to-
plan
yeah.
towards that, yeah.
and then creating that 25%. What did he call it? I'm
Yeah, but
sorry.
this is the special master, that's.
So that's separate from
It's
what he
separate.
would provide?
Yes,
Okay.
Mr. Burgess would not provide this. This is a person appointed by the state that handles all our COA, like
Agreements.
agreements,
In
like.
front of the court.
So
I
it's,
see, just-
almost like a liaison.
Yeah.
A liaison, okay.
so it stands for Community Grants Planning and Housing LLC.
Yep.
And the emails I have are for annual affordable housing monitoring reports.
So we haven't spent more than 1900.
Well, we spent a lot of money.
Well, that was the years we
Yeah.
had Viviana, that's why. So those are years that you had a lot of money if you go back. What are your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen?
I would keep it. I wouldn't jeopardize.
Yeah.
225 is coming up real fast.
Oh, it's still 25.
I mean, if the new rules haven't come out and we're operating under the existing rules, it's been on a decreasing, or, it went from 9 and 10 to 2 and 2, or 3 and 2. I mean,
If I may make a recommendation, if we were going to consult with Mr. Poller and the other ones, would it hurt to wait till Monday for the last two? Because you know the next one.
Table this one?
And appraisers too, because same question's going to come up, which is fair,
Everybody okay tabling these two till Monday? Till Mr.
Yes.
Pollard's here?
Yeah, I think that would be
Thank you.
wise.
Okay.
will he handles the tax appeals
Yes.
initially?
Yes.
Well,
I take that back.
could be, if it's not resolved like in the first round, then he gets involved.
Yeah, it's tax appeal appraisers, so this would be for the appraisers. So if we look at the audit trail, Nick Nerney and Associates was used on,
So I guess my question is, if we know what's being appealed,
yeah, again, I would ask kindly if we can have him answer these questions.
I'm fine with that.
Thank you.
Okay, engineering services, Department of Salaries and Wages, we're going to wait. General engineering, 401-20-165-201, 60 is requested, 60 is recommended. We have a $45,600 retainer for the year of 2024, correct, Mr. DeCarlo?
Yes, and there's no way yourself is going to vote to reduce an engineering line. There's no way. I
was going to make it the retainer.
No way. There's no way you would do that. I've come to learn everything is engineering,
Of course.
everything is engineering. So, we do have a couple of projects that are, that we are currently working on, and, engineering fees, total up quick. So we would respectfully ask for the 60,000.
And also to piggyback on that, we met with a representative of Boswell today, and it was spoken about that they're closing out projects, but we could still use a retainer for the projects that are being closed out. So again, I would see the difference between the 45 and the 60 to, come closer to the 60.
I'll motion for the 60.
I'll second it.
May I continue to ask a question?
Yeah, absolutely. Discussion.
So have they presented plans for these additional expenses? I understand
You mean they, Boswell?
they Boswell,
Okay.
so that's one. Two is, and I know we don't want to revisit last year, but, there are certainly projects that Boswell charged us for that were done at the request of council or general, I guess it was acknowledged, they weren't capital projects. So for instance, Wayne Place, that's not a capital project. But then I see others that were capital projects, and the evaluation of the swim club site, I would assume would go against the capital budget, not engineering.
Right, but if, I was going to say, remember, you weren't on council. We didn't have a funded capital line at the time for the swim club. So at first it was going under general engineering. And, again, without looking through it, in my reviews, I most likely had some of them reallocated once we did fund the line for capital. And then once we received grants, we were able to utilize the capital funds. But we're definitely cognizant of not wasting money that was already spent by recreating the slicing of bread, in other words. So we don't want to lose the work that Boswell Engineering has already done in some circumstances because of the intimate knowledge that they have. Transferring some of those projects to the new engineer would definitely waste money because we'd have to catch.
Why can't we go with an hourly rate for Boswell instead of a retainer? Because they're billing us a retainer plus fees on top of those
I
projects.
think what the mayor was, it hasn't been set, but we met with Mr. Boswell today, and it was to clear up invoicing questions and concerns that we had, which were cleaned up. And it's my professional opinion that the best way to move forward is to always have a proposal with a ceiling expense.
Absolutely.
And not to do by the hour because.
Well, this is a different situation, so I think, can we get a proposal for them to, I guess, we need a little summary of which projects are still open with them?
Well, yeah, I mean, I can tell you.
I'm just curious, how many they have left that they owe us to complete?
Well, that would not be attributed to a capital program.
Yeah.
So, there's things that, we have the PSE&G resurfacing project, we have the Veolia resurfacing project that they were involved in the pre-construction meetings beforehand. Nothing's free, and you know that. And again,
I'm not saying it's free.
No, I know. I'm just reiterating the fact that, you have conversations with the engineers and they're expecting to bill. We do have, the Wayne School Street issue, whether it's sidewalks or not, we didn't put in for that. We still have the safety and traffic volume problem there that we're working. We still have the exit 168 issue that we're working on. Those are all continuous projects that have been going on for well over a year that I don't know when the end is in sight. So that extra 15,000 above Mr. Beckmeyer's retainer is nothing, and we're going to try and do it all for that 15,000. So again, learning myself how much engineering is involved in everything from the simplest water runoff from the neighbor's gutter. Please fund this line with the 60,000 that we're asking, because I've only mentioned stuff that is current and that we know about. There's all the unforeseen stuff we don't know about for the remainder 8 months in that line.
And how is it determined that an item is within or outside the retainer?
So in their proposal, they listed what is, you had it as part of your resolution that you passed in January. So again, off the top of my head, it's attending meetings, it's addressing neighbor drainage complaints, township drainage complaints, assisting with grant preparations like the New Jersey DOT road resurfacing. It's a slew of them,
So I know in years past, when I was on council, we did get a engineering report of all the active projects and the status from the engineer. Mr. Mayor, is that something we could revisit now that Mr. Beckmeyer is on board? And
Yeah.
we don't need his attendance, but at least if we get a report of what he did, like what he's got pending this month or what he's got pending next month, that was a big help to the council, I thought.
Yeah, absolutely.
Any other discussion, ladies and gentlemen?
Mike, in your experience,
What Mr. DeCarlo said is absolutely correct, and unfortunately, I'm gonna have to say, I'll make a motion for the 60 because it's.
I-
It was already made a motion.
Oh, I'll second.
Oh, Mr. Sears.
Oh, then we're gonna take a roll call.
We're moving here.
We're cooking with
We're
gas.
trying.
Roll call.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilman Oman,
no.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes.
and Council President DeSena.
Yes. Stormwater management engineering fees,
Do we know what the rest of the monies were used for?
What do you mean, sir?
If you look at page 58
Yes.
and 59, there's only 3,400 of bills,
What does it say?
but we're showing 6,000, or the 2,500 residual balance was used.
Let me just take a second.
You know, a 2,000,
I don't know, that's weird. I don't know why. Something must have happened between February 5th and February 29th. So the audit was printed out on February 5th, and then your budget was printed out on February 29th. So I can certainly find out. I just don't know off the top of my head what that remainder of, whatever it was, 1,500.
I mean, you know, are these, they may not be contractual, but are they mandated fees or whatever the correct term is? You know, is there another one for the 25 and there are 3 fees that we have to pay every year? Or is there something that is variable?
I believe from my memory, these are variable. You know, again, some of this was a learning process for me as we went along. You know, you receive a bill that, you know, the discharge was, or the general permit, or an annual site remediation. So I don't know off the top of my head what we're expecting for this year. However, you know, it does cover other things that we have to do once our stormwater compliance grant runs out. So when the MS4 reporting has to be done this year, which is done every year, the possible updating of our SP3, our stormwater management plan, this is all the money we would utilize. Luckily, last year, we received a $25,000 grant for it. I'm not sure if that's going to be an option this year. So again, there's a lot of requirements, as you most likely already know, with stormwater management. So, you know, I know I'm answering it in a roundabout way, but I don't know specifically what bill we're going to receive this year.
Where did that $25,000 grant get put to, Mr. DePaul?
We use it to update our our stormwater mapping system, which was required by the DEP. That was a significant amount of money. And we also used it to contract with stormwater compliance for an overall stormwater management system that assists us in keeping organized, and as well as updating our SP3 and our stormwater management plan.
Do we want to wait until we figure out this discrepancy before we vote on this? We want to table it till,
Well, there's 3,400 outstanding.
yeah, it's 3,400 outstanding. That doesn't.
I should be able to get into admins. I mean, maybe table it for a few minutes, but I can, it keeps kicking me out, but I can figure it out.
That's gonna be our stopping point, so,
For tonight?
yeah.
Oh, wow.
What do you want, anybody want to go a little longer? I know this, Les just got here, but what say you, gentlemen?
I'm okay to keep going, but I know you've been here much longer.
We got a lot of questions to get answered.
What's that?
I said we got a lot of questions to answer from legal. It's up, I don't care.
We can go a little bit longer, all right? We're definitely stopping at 10, right? Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Yeah, let's go for a half hour.
All right.
That's fine.
So we'll skip that.
Hold on
We're gonna hold off until Mr. DePaul can get Edmonds to work on his computer. Public affairs salaries and wage, we're gonna skip, public affairs, event coordinators, we're gonna skip, right? And then we have, public affairs employee holiday party, 401-20-406, 230, 10,000 requested, 10,000 recommended. Any discussion?
So, this is evening event? Or
Correct.
daytime event?
Evening event.
Okay. So I understand the importance of employee morale and employee recognition. It's something I do as part of my function day to day for my employee. I guess my question is, can we revisit this and what the party consists of? Can it be done during the day as a luncheon? The firm I work for is having a off year, and instead of having dinner and a party, we had pizza in the conference room. And I'm not suggesting that we have pizza in the conference room, but if we could evaluate an alternate to an evening event.
Council President?
Mr. Allen, are you done for it? Mr. Sears, are you done or are you still talking?
No, I think I've said enough.
Go ahead,
Oh,
Mr. Sears.
okay. I make a motion, we accept the 10,000.
I'll second that.
We gotta treat our employees better than a slice of pizza.
I don't think anybody's saying we need.
No, I know what he
pizza,
was
but-
saying, but, I mean, they look forward to it. It's, if you've been to those with them, they appreciate it. It shows a lot of respect for them, and I think, I've seen parties that are more than 10,000, but they really deserve something, and they look forward to it. It's a really appreciation from the council, the administration, to reach out to them and give them something nice. So my motion is for the 10,000.
I'm going to agree with Councilman Sears. The employees look forward to it. They talk about it. And it's a nice way for everybody to get together in a relaxed environment. They work very hard all year, going above and beyond. I've seen it. So this is, it's not happening on a Friday night. This is being done very, very reasonably for a large group of people. So I agree with Councilman Sears.
We have a motion and a second.
I have a motion, I have a second. We do not have a roll call.
Roll call.
Councilman Casio,
No.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilman Oman,
No.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes,
Council President DeSena.
No. I'd like to make a motion to reduce it to the 2023 $9,000 budget and see if we can make it work. I don't think it's an unrealistic amount to make it work. So
well,
I'll
the
make-
the reality is the cost of everywhere is up
I know, but we
tremendously.
could, I think it's,
So are we supposed to cut out employees because,
I'm not saying to cut out employees, we can cut out something to make it work for 9,000.
Food?
well, I'm saying it's strictly for employees.
Yeah.
Spouses are not
Yeah, no,
invited.
I'm not disagreeing, I just think it's a required event, I agree with that, we started it when I was first on council. The mayor, we all decided up on the dais to do this for the employees because we thought it was something they needed. I still think we need to do it, but I just think we need to,
Well, if we can look at the history, 2019, you have 8,000. It's jumped 2,000 in almost, 5 years? That's not unreasonable considering the cost of living and the
I'm not
expenses.
disagreeing, but we gotta bring stuff down, and it's just,
But
Where does it
you're
end?
just telling the employees you're gonna get, we don't really appreciate you, instead of
that's not,
having this.
don't put words in my mouth.
I'm just saying that
I appreciate
it's coming out, I mean, you started it, so the incentive of this.
I'm not
It's
disagreeing.
important to them,
Yeah.
you know?
So-
I think we could bring it into, I think for $9,000, we can have a beautiful event. So that's my motion. So I don't know if anybody will second it, but
Well-
that's,
If we continue on this path, gentlemen, we are going to lose good employees. And I'm not saying just for a holiday party, but the way that you are moving towards our employees, this
Are
is
you
going
saying
to
this to
cost
me?
us, everybody
oh,
on the
you said
dais.
you, I didn't know if you were.
You, gentlemen, it's not the opinion of myself, and I don't want to speak for Councilman Sears. But if we don't treat our employees correctly, this is going to cost us much more in the long run. $2,000 over a course of almost 5 years is not unreasonable.
It's not, and I agree with you. It's,
Mike, may I make a comment?
Sure, Mr. Claire.
The average price per head where we have the event, I think, is about $100 a head. And, you know, we do get close to 100 people because we invite board members, you know, who volunteer their time, you know, to show our appreciation for that also. So it does get close to 100 people. You know, for the sake of $1,000, you know, I don't think the existing place will come down in their price because, you know, by today's standards, $100 a head for what we get is already a good price. Now we'd have to start looking at outside venues who, I'm going to say, don't have the incentive to give us a better price. I think we get a good price because we're in the same town. And so, you know, again, I would respectfully ask that you readdress the 10,000 based on that. Because again, I don't know what we would cut, and I can't think of another facility that will do it for less than what we're currently getting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I guess nobody's willing to second my motion, so
I'll second the motion.
you'll second it? Roll call?
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
disgusted to say that we have to vote on $1,000 to give our employees something nice. And this trend is going to affect all the employees. So definitely, it's a no, but you reap what you sow.
Thank you.
Councilman Oman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
I hope you gentlemen, and yes, now I'm saying you gentlemen, the three of you, I hope that you step up and volunteer and do more for this community and show up because you are not appreciating those that do.
I respectfully
My vote is
disagree.
no.
Yeah, but what you just said, I do a lot
Yes.
for this community. I volunteer.
I
my
see
time.
neither of the three of you show up at any community events, nor volunteer.
What community events did I not show up?
This weekend alone, we had 2 events in town. We had Ramadan and we had the Irish at the library.
So
I mean,
so
and you
we're-
guys
so
don't,
if we're at other-
and neither of you have ever volunteered at any of the town functions that operated under public affairs. But these employees and these volunteers show up and we can't give them
I've been
$1,000?
a zoning board member. I was at basketball and I sent the person running the Ramadan.
You're all pushing
We're not pushing.
our volunteers, our
No, we're not.
employees away because you don't want to show up for them.
That's not.
You're-
I disagree with you totally.
That's
So,
fine, you
every
can,
other
but I
time.
see the
But
evidence.
If we have other things going on,
Then you know what? Make up for these $1,000. Put it out of your pocket. Put it out of your pocket.
sure, I'm going to donate part of my council salary. So we'll see when that line comes. There you go, Ms. Velez.
Because Lord knows that Councilman Sears and I are always doing so much for this community.
And you get thanked for it all the time. We do thank you for it. And I do a lot for this
So,
community.
you know,
as well. I
thank
was at
my
basketball
volunteers.
Saturday.
Thank my
I was at
volunteers by
another
giving
event
them-
on Sunday.
Giving them a
And
party
they're not
that
your
they will.
volunteers, they're all our volunteers.
Fine, agreed. The town volunteers and our town employees.
Thank
Show up for them and give them $1,000. My vote is no.
Thank you.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Public Affairs Holiday Decorations, 40120, 406, 240. 2,000 is requested, 2,000 is recommended. Do we know what these decorations are for? Just all holidays in general?
Yes.
Any discussion, ladies and gentlemen?
I'm okay with it.
You okay? Would you like to make a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion for the 2,000.
I'll second that.
Roll call?
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Ullman.
Yes.
Council President, sorry,
Nope.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Public Affairs Social Media, 40120, 406, 250. 3,800 requested, 3,800 recommended. Any discussion?
Yeah, I just have a quick question, and these of you can answer this. When you had it in 2021, it was 2,000. What was the $2,000 increase for? Do you recall?
I don't, social media goes to the mayor.
Oh.
It was not, that doesn't operate with me. It's just
Sorry,
under
Steve, I
the,
didn't hear your
The
question.
question was, in 2021, it was 2,000. Now we're almost at 4. You know what the increase was over last year and the year prior? Why that went up? Why did it go up?
Just taking a look now.
Sure. Is there something we added, upgraded?
I believe it's, it started when we just had a town Facebook page.
Okay,
And then previous councils approved a public affairs and recreation combined Facebook page
Correct.
to get the word out.
gotcha. Okay.
So
It's been-
basically 2 pages now
Two
versus
pages,
one.
okay.
yeah, and it's been very successful in
Yeah,
getting
thank you.
communication.
I'll make a motion to fund the 3,800.
I'll second.
Votes, Mr. Alman, you have
I
discussion?
just, what is the difference between the social media and the website? Is there overlap? Or
No, it's done by 2 different companies.
the social media is just the content, not just, but it's the content versus the website, which is hosted?
Hosted and managed, yes, and updated.
So is that, my apologies.
No worries.
So when you go to twip.us, twipofwashington.us,
Mhm.
that's the
That's the
website.
website, correct.
Okay. And is that are these contracted?
Yes. Yes.
Not sure. Yes,
Yes,
okay.
we have an agreement with the individuals.
Any other discussion?
Not for me.
Anyone else?
Good.
Roll call? Do we have a second on motion?
Mhm.
Yeah, roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Ullman.
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez.
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Public Affairs website, 40120, 406, 320. 7,500 requested, 7,500 recommended. Any discussion?
Assuming that's a contract rate as well.
I think we should take it lower based on the run rate.
Well, there's a contracted amount which hasn't, has not increased since last year. And the amount of work that this individual does, that does not bill us extra. However, if I have to do the math, there's a few $100s at $25 an hour, which is like slave labor, if I can even say that. To even consider this person would work for $25 an hour. So there is a few $100 buffer if we have some type of special project that we need done on the website. So, you know, again, I respectfully ask you not to reduce it. If you've been on the website lately, which I'm sure you all have, it's excellent. It's excellently maintained. It's updated right away. The amount of work that's put in for the amount of money we pay is not even comparable.
I'll make a motion to approve the $7,500.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilman Oman,
No.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Public Affairs Printing, 401-20406-470, 1,200 requested, 1,200 recommended. Any discussion?
Do we know what that is?
It's for printing of our different events, the flyers, things like that. Also, now that we have the 2 poles up on Pascack, I'd like to do more banners to advertise.
Wasn't that holiday decorations?
Well, it's some of both. You know, again, now that we have the poles up, there's more banners I want to order that would go above and beyond the holiday decorations. You know, like if we do a summer concert to advertise that, you know, just those type of things. Now that we have the poles, you know, we want to put them to good use.
So then, not to point out the obvious, but if the road signs are 800 each, we're not going to get very far.
No, there's a banner that was printed for $288. If you look at the run rate of in the one task, I believe the vendor printed the banner that went up for the holidays or something for $288 is what I saw.
Isn't that this?
No, there was something, it says it's not that, it's something different.
I'm not sure. You're looking at me, so I'm wondering if you have a question.
No, I'm wondering if you knew if I was right with the 288 number from,
So there are all different size banners plus,
but I know it's a local vendor that was in the run rate that
yeah.
I saw for 288 for a banner for.
Mr. Mayor, if I may elaborate.
Of course.
So the printing, from experience, the printing has been all different types of flyer sizes, postcards, advertisements, lawn signs, anything like that that goes with some of our more less annual events, right? Versus like
Yeah,
the
that's
tree
more
lighting
sheets.
or.
No, Mr. Elmer at $799.
So if you notice the decrease, there hasn't been a director since July because it's a very difficult position to fill considering all the work that goes into it. So there has been a little bit of less events. As a result, there was less printing just for this year in comparison. But it covers like the summer concerts, movies that has been done, Halloween events,
Memorial Day.
Memorial Day. So a lot of random
Veterans Day.
signage that'll go through that line item. Veterans Day, yep, that's true too.
I'll approve, or I will motion for the 1,200, excuse me.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry, we didn't hear you.
I'll second the motion.
Motion for the 1,200.
Oh, okay,
I'll
thank you.
second it, roll call.
Councilman Casio,
Yes.
Councilman Sears,
Yes.
Councilman Oman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes,
Council President DeSena.
Yes. Public Affairs Archive Social, 401-20406-500, 4188 requested, 4188 recommended. It's supported by a quote.
Sorry.
Can someone explain what that is? I'm not familiar with.
Yes, I can. Since we have a couple of Facebook pages now, and also it covers some of the volunteer Facebook pages, like the fire department, library, if we get an Oprah request for something that was on one of the Facebook pages, this company monitors and can supply that information to the clerk. So it's a cost of doing business since we're now on Facebook, in effect.
And
However, I need to interject something.
Yep, no,
for the
please, please.
conversation. I just got something today that there's a law changing that could take that away from them.
So if I could ask to just request a table this for a week until maybe the next discussion, see if anything else comes down. They're trying to work out something, the company itself. I'm not sure where it's gonna lead us. So I'd rather just kind of leave this alone just for a
That's
week.
that new whole Oprah argument that's happening at the State House today?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Are we okay with tabling this
If
until
we
Ms.
could-
Witkowski gets us more information?
We can save it.
That's
All
fine.
right, let's table it. If we can save it.
thank you, I'm
let's table
sorry, but before we get into
No.
another discussion, that might be for naught.
Is there a list of the pages that are captured by their service?
I'm sure there is, because they would have to know which ones to monitor. I don't know it offhand. I mean, I threw out a few obvious ones,
Yes.
but I think it was up to 5 that they covered in
I think
their
it's actually
base
up to
rate.
12,
Oh, was it
because I
that
asked
high?
to see,
Okay.
are we using it to the fullest potential for the
Okay.
money?
Mm.
And they said it's, I thought it was up to 5 myself,
Yeah,
and they
okay.
said, no, it's up to 12.
Oh, okay.
So I can look at that and
Thank you.
Public Affairs Calendar, 401-20-406-510, 5,500 requested, 5,500 recommended. Any discussion?
Based on the postage discussion, I think this is where the follow-up discussion is. My view is that we should eliminate the calendar. I know Councilwoman Velez, had some comments on that, but my feeling is it's outdated. It's outlived its life in the era of social media, access, phones. So
Do we have a
Just
cost,
make a
do we have a cost, Mr. Mayor, of what it costs per calendar? Like if we were to, instead of mailing 3,400 to each home, right? Let's just say we print 1,000 and say, if you like the old calendar, please come to town hall and pick it up. Limited supply. And because like Mr. DeCarlo says, the new township page is gorgeous. It's a beautiful page. All the information is on there.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier than the calendar because you forget where you put the calendar. There was a couple comments I saw today on Facebook about
I saw them also.
yeah, we take the calendar, we put it right into the recycling pile. So I saw more of those than anything
you
else.
should bring them back here, because other people came in today looking for them, and we couldn't find them.
Yeah, so there you go. So what I'm saying is I know it was brought up that some seniors don't have access to computers.
I just
So
want to make sure.
I wanted to, my recommendation would be that if we find out it's $5 per calendar and we can have, 500 of them printed and reduce the cost by that much. So people could come and pick up if they're seniors or they don't have to be seniors. That was the comment that was made. But just so we have some available for people that don't have access to a computer. But I think
My only concern with that would be the sponsors that we have for the calendar who put their ads in. That's somewhat based on blanketing the whole town, so they know people who open the calendar will see their advertisements. I do have a concern that if we go that route, we'll lose our sponsorship money, which, offhand, I don't know.
well, did the sponsorship money cover the 5,500?
I don't think it covered all of it, no, but I was just going to say, I don't have the exact numbers, but I don't think it covered all of it, but it may have covered about half of it. But again, that's just
Council
off the top of my
President?
head.
Sorry, makes,
Mr.
let
Mayor.
me use that.
Go ahead, Mr. Sears.
One thing, since that comment was made last week, I had a ton of people saying that they want the calendar. They feel that the calendar is a guide for them. They know when they have to put their recyclables out, it's on the calendar. They know when they have to get the dog permits, it's on the calendar. They have numbers to reach us, it's on the calendar. It's just, a lot of people are upset about that, and we're here to give a service to the community, not to take something away from the community. And that's just my statement on that, that there are people that are upset that
And
That
that's
was
why I
brought
was
out.
thinking of a limited run on the calendar versus sending one to everybody. Because this way, those people that want it, it would be available in limited quantities and they can come pick it up or, however. That's my thought.
If I may.
Yes, Ms.
So I shared your sentiments last year. I felt similar. But during the course of that time period, this saying was said to me. So many people look forward to the calendar. And like I said yesterday, they expressed all the reasons, which Councilman Sears mentioned a few. And it was communicated that it was best to leave the calendar because it's one of those things that, the younger people, they don't want the calendar. But our older residents, they want the calendar. So it's a balance. I felt, based on those that approached me and spoke to me last year, that more people wanted the calendar than not. And I did see those posts as well, but it's almost like you can't win because
That's why I'm saying we do a
in
limited
January
run.
and February,
You don't
they
have
were
a calendar.
they were being bombarded. Why isn't there calendar? Of course, there's no calendar, And then now you have a calendar. People are like, well, why do we need a calendar?
Yeah.
So it's one of those,
Catch-22.
yeah.
Can we find out what the journal ad generated? And maybe if we table this and we discuss it, I'm just curious what is it, did we get a 50% of that 5,500 captured back, or was it a third of that? I don't know what the number is, but can we find that,
Yes.
Mr. DeCarlo?
I mean, to me, again, just real quick math in my head, I think there's around 3,300 households in town. So if we say this is 5,500 of it,
Yeah.
and whatever the postage is, I'll call that another grand. So you might want to say $2 per calendar offhand, if I did that very quick math correctly.
That's what I was saying, do we,
Yeah.
do we maybe say, reduce it to half and only print half the calendars and not mail them and say they're at town hall, first come, first serve, and, we meet in the middle, everyone, because then half the town has got the ability to get a calendar.
Yeah, I mean,
And the other half that doesn't want it, and we save on the postage and we save on the printing.
that was presented last year and it was a.
I know, I know Mr. Sears is saying, but I have a reminder right now that
And I wouldn't want
when I
it,
get home, my recycling's got to go out, right? Because we live on beach, recycling goes out tonight, right? So it's
Yeah.
on my calendar. So I wouldn't want anybody that doesn't have access to our beautiful website. You too, Mr. Cass, you
I will
got.
have you do it for me since you're already out.
but I wouldn't want to do if that's the road that's traveled, I wouldn't want to do it first come, first serve because we do have a population in town that perhaps can't get out of their homes or older seniors. So we would have to make some kind of accommodations
Yeah.
to make sure that they receive one.
But if you also print less, it might cost you more.
Well, that's why we got
That's
to talk.
true.
Well, we got to find out.
That's
That's one of the
better
things we got to find out.
The
All
more you
right, so if we
print,
table it, if we can just get that information of what the sponsors brought in, Mr. Mayor or Mr. DeCarlo. that'd be
Yes.
great. All right, we'll stop at public affairs because it's 10:05.
Can I finish a comment?
Yeah, yes, I'm sorry.
In other municipalities, and I'm going
2,600.
to bring an example in next time.
calendar.
They do give out a calendar. It's not as elaborate. So it's basically a nice big sheet of paper with a calendar on it. with all the-
Hold on, guys, hold on,
all
Mr.
the- Sorry, with all the information with your particular dates that you have.
Councilman Cassidy, you got to bring your microphone to your face.
Hello?
Please. Hello.
In other municipalities.
Thank you.
Okay. They do give out a calendar, but it's not as elaborate as ours. Okay. So I understand it's nice to have a piece of paper stuck on the refrigerator door because that's where my other one is. And it works out very nice. It doesn't cost a whole heck of a lot of money and it's very effective. The information that you need can be on a one pager. It really can be. So I'll bring an example in for next meeting because I'll have it. You can just take a look.
Council President, before you
Yes,
shut
Mr.
down,
Sears.
the
Oh, I'm going to do the
only
last one. I wanted to.
thing, can we just do cable?
Well, I'm going to do public affairs videotaping council meetings and then we'll
No,
stop.
I mean, cable TV, it's the only thing on here.
Yeah, we
Just
can
the
do-
top.
yeah, that's
If we
fine.
stop the
Yeah,
land use,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
so
we-
did we
Finish
table the
that out.
calendar?
Yeah, we're going to table
Okay.
calendar because Mr. DePaulo is going to get us the information.
Okay, thank you.
And then we're going to do public affairs videotaping council meetings, 401-20-406-520, 9,000 requested, 9,000 recommended. Any discussion?
No.
I'll make a motion to approve the 9,000.
Second it?
Roll call?
Councilman Cassio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes.
Councilman Oman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes. WCTV cable television expense 401-20407-000, 8,000 requested, 8,000 recommended. Any discussion?
I would make a motion,
They do a wonderful
They
job.
do an
I'll second-
outstanding
I'll second
job.
your motion, so.
and
And they're
whatever
down.
we can get them to
Yes.
bring forth to us, to the community, it's well worth it.
Thank you.
Agreed. Did you
Well,
mo-
I just want to
somebody
know why
motion?
they.
Roll call.
Well,
I'm sorry,
Oh, hold
I'm
on.
Time out.
Dr. Casco.
Who moved it and who seconded? I have a
Mr.
motion.
Sears,
Mr. Sears.
and I second.
Thank you very much.
So this is line 000, right?
Yes.
So what was the run over for last year? Or close to run off, because it was 96. right?
Wasn't there a server problem or something, remember? They had to,
It was 96.
Yeah, but they were under, they were 95, 90.
yeah.
Yeah, I understand that. We were there requesting 8. So I want to know why. You want to talk about getting cut short?
Wasn't there a server problem? Remember they
don't-
talked about it?
I do not remember the request.
That was their, February, I did forward everybody the email we received.
Correct.
8,000 was what they had asked for, and I don't know what I wasn't on council, I don't know what the answer is
Okay.
to the 9,600 from the 9519.
I thought maybe Ms. Velez or Mr. Sears remembered, but I
I
don't
thought it
recall.
was a
It may have
server.
been a
They had an
one-time
issue.
purchase they needed last year.
Yeah,
Okay,
All right.
great.
so I would make the motion for the 8,000.
Second, roll call.
Councilman Casio.
Yes.
Councilman Sears.
Yes,
Councilman Oman,
Yes.
Councilwoman Velez,
Yes.
Council President DeSena.
Yes, we will stop at land use. We'll pick that up on Monday night. Just a reminder, the mayor, Mr. DeCarlo, is going to try to have the DPW, 2 of the departments here Monday and 2 of the departments here on Wednesday, correct? So
And-
whichever one.
By the 2, you're including
Mr.
tax assessor, right?
Tax
Yeah,
assessor,
okay,
yes.
yeah.
I'm
No,
sorry,
that would
if you don't mind. So which departments will be
We're
here?
gonna try to do 2 departments per night.
Do we know which two?
We don't know because.
I have to reach out to see
We're gonna
what
reach
they
out and see
have.
who's available. I didn't want to,
No,
we
that's
didn't
fine.
want to say these 2. We originally started with like, all right, let's pick this one and this one, but we didn't know their availability, so we said.
Well, the mayor's gonna get back
He's
to
gonna
you,
get back to everyone, to
Okay.
Ms. Witkowski and
just so
Julie
we
Mills.
can prepare.
Will you pick up where we left off if they're here, or you'll start with them?
We'll start with them so they
We
can
can
go.
start with them.
So, Mr. Mayor, you'll let us know which departments are coming
Of
out
course.
Monday, and
Yep.
I guess you'll let Ms. Witkowski know, and she'll let the council know.
You got it.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn,
So moved.
So moved.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. We'll meet again Monday night at 7 PM. Thank you.